Well, the biggest news is coming out of Indy this week, not NASCAR. But there is NASCAR news, including new spotters for a couple of drivers, and Hall of Fame class for 2026 was announced. We'll talk about that and the schedule next on Racin-n-Braisin. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin Preview Edition. That's right, Thursday night we're going to talk about what is coming up for the action this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But first, there is some major news this week. As everybody has heard, Indy has had a major shakeup in the Penske management. Yes, big controversy that included the firing of Tim Cindric, Austin Cindric's father. He was removed from the upper echelons of the Indy management within Penske's organization. That has definitely raised a couple of questions about whether Austin Cindric's ride is secure. Well, if you do a quick look, you'll see that Austin Cindric has signed a contract that extends through the end of the 2026 season. So, as far as contracts go, he is definitely secure through the end of this season and the end of next season for sure. But I do think there is an argument to be made that his seat will remain hot for that length of time. The reason I say that is because Austin Cindric's driving for the top tier Ford team in NASCAR and is expected to perform. Up until this year, I would argue, and I think many could argue, that he hasn't really met those expectations. One win a year isn't necessarily strong enough to maintain a seat at the Penske Racing organization. And yes, there has been some murmurings that he has secured and held on to that ride because of his dad's relationship with Roger Penske. Now, with that relationship ended as far as a business sense goes, that does leave the ride in question. For Austin to maintain his seat and for them to negotiate another contract, which I certainly think is capable. I don't see any ill will or animosity now that things have settled from the IndyCar thing. What I would suspect and what I would expect as a fan to be a reasonable cause for Austin Cindric to maintain his ride is that he should be getting 2 to 3 wins per season like his teammates instead of just 1 win a season. Let me know what you guys think down below. Is that enough for him to maintain his seat, or is Tim Cindric's departure from the Penske organization enough for Roger Penske to cut and run and maybe bring on some other talent that may be able to fill that 2 car a little bit better? I don't really know who is in the pipeline for the Ford organization necessarily, but there are some big names coming up through the ranks in the lower tiers that could garner some attention from Roger Penske in 2027 and beyond. As I mentioned in the intro, there are some new spotters that are going to be on the roof this weekend. First off, Christopher Bell is getting a new spotter. That will be Matt Philpott. He is going to be replacing Stevie Reeves. That is going to be a permanent change for this season. And Brad Keselowski will be getting a new spotter this weekend as well. This one will be a temporary replacement. Todd Brewer is going to be taking over for TJ Majors. TJ is getting a medical procedure that is going to force him to be out for a couple of weeks, but he is expected to return later on this season. So we hope a quick recovery for TJ Majors and that he can get back on the roof and back into his regular role. In addition, the NASCAR Hall of Fame for 2026 was announced this week. Kurt Busch went as a first ballot vote, and Harry Gant finally made the Hall of Fame. I am a Harry Gant fan. He was one of the first legacy drivers that I got to know and admire when I started following NASCAR back in the early 90s as a kid. He was on the tail end of his career. I think he may have been doing sporadic races at that point when I first came into the scene, but I knew of Harry Gant. And I loved that 33 Skull car. That Bandit was awesome. So I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Harry Gant, and every year he's been on the ballot for the Hall of Fame, and every year he's been passed over. So I'm very happy to see that Harry Gant has been inducted and will be on the 2026 lineup for the Hall of Fame. And then that will be rounded out with Ray Hendrick as the legacy driver that has been added for the 2026 class. Okay, so a lot of racing going on this weekend. Of course, you guys know Memorial Day weekend is packed with some of the biggest events. Monaco will be Sunday morning, the Indy 500 will be Sunday afternoon, and then Sunday night, of course, the Coke 600. So a lot of action on Sunday, but there's also a lot of action through the rest of the weekend. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's dive into the schedule this weekend, starting with Friday's action from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Trucks will kick off practice and qualifying at 3:30 on FS2, followed by an ARCA race at 6 p.m. on FS1, and then the trucks will get their race in Friday night at 8:30, also on FS1. Saturday will be filled with Xfinity practice and qualifying starting at 11 a.m. on the CW app, followed by Cup practice and qualifying at 1:30 p.m. on Prime, and the Xfinity race will be at 4:30 in the afternoon on the CW. And then finally, of course, for NASCAR action, Sunday night's race, the Coca-Cola 600, will be at 6 p.m. All of that action throughout the weekend from Charlotte Motor Speedway will be covered on PRN. Now, of course, we know everybody in NASCAR world knows that Kyle Larson is attempting to do the double this weekend, the Indy 500 and the Coke 600. And I wish him all the luck in the world. I think we are witnessing a generational talent. The fact that he is trying this a second year in a row, I think is absolutely awesome. For NASCAR, for IndyCar, for all of North American racing, it absolutely puts a great eye on the talent that North America has been able to produce. As of the making of this video, what are we at? 5:23 right now. I just checked the weather for Indianapolis. The weather is showing partly sunny skies and 70 degrees with only a 5% chance of rain for Sunday at Indianapolis. At least AccuWeather is showing a good forecast. Now, I did see an article this morning that did mention there were other models out there that said there could be up to a 70% chance of rain on Sunday. And as we know with NASCAR's new rule, any whiff of a delay in the Indy 500, and Larson's going to have to be on his plane headed to Charlotte because he cannot miss any of the action at Charlotte. Otherwise, he'll be ineligible for basically everything else in NASCAR for this season. The priority, as Hendrick Motorsports has said, and Larson himself has said as well, is the 600. If there is any chance of a delay, he will not be at the Indy 500. If he happens to start the Indy 500 and then it gets delayed, he will have to leave and go, obviously, to Charlotte. And his backup driver, Tony Kanaan, because of Larson starting that race, will be ineligible to hop into that car and continue the race. The only way Tony Kanaan could serve as the replacement driver is if Larson is unable to start at all. So that's just the kind of little specific about what Larson is facing. Weather looks good, in my opinion. I trust AccuWeather. Okay, couple of quick notes before we round things out here. I just want to let you guys know the last 8 600s have been won by 8 different drivers. There have been 7 drivers with 30 or more winless streaks that have been able to break those streaks at the 600, the most recent being Ryan Blaney back in 2023. Last year, if you guys remember, it was a rain-shortened race. The winner was Christopher Bell, and the pole winner last year was Ty Gibbs. The Toyotas do very well at Charlotte, so I'm expecting them to be contenders all day long. This coming weekend, personally, I'm going to be traveling, so I'm going to have a hard time keeping up with things live, but while I am in the vehicle traveling, I will be tuned in to PRN anytime there is action on the track. If you guys are also traveling this weekend, make sure you have the PRN app on your phone so you can easily listen live. Also remember, this is the premiere of the Prime broadcast for the 600 Sunday night, the first of 5 races for Prime and the return of Dale Jr. in the booth. I think a lot of us are excited about that. As far as what is going to happen Sunday morning for me and a video here on Racin-n-Braisin, I'm not quite sure, but I am going to be spending the weekend with family, in particular my parents, and there's a good chance we might be doing a special on-location pick video with a special guest to make that pick along with me. Definitely be on the lookout for sure for Monday night's regular recap video of what we have seen from this weekend. I hope you guys are all going to have a safe holiday weekend. Enjoy family time if you are spending it with family, friends, or loved ones. Let me know what you guys are going to be putting on your menu this weekend. I am going to be enjoying some steamed crabs back home in Maryland. So, looking forward to that, guys. Definitely until Monday night, but possibly as early as Sunday morning, I will talk to you all again. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what is on your menu for this Memorial Day weekend. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Bye.